Hi guys.
Hello.
So we are on the road driving from
Bampton.
essentially Stow-on-the-Wold through Bampton back to London to drop the car off at Gatwick. Then we're heading into London.
Not gonna drive in London.
No, hell no. But we thought we would take this opportunity to kind of go over some of the driving in London or in England, in the UK, for those of you who haven't done it, who have some questions or concerns. This will probably pretty much answer a lot of those questions that I've always been asked. So we got a little outline. Melissa's going to launch into first about the types of cars that you can rent. We rented a car from Enterprise. If you book early in advance, usually you get the best rates. So we booked about 6 months ago through Enterprise, and we're spending, for the 4 or 5 days we have this car, I think we're spending about 120 pounds. So that's not quite, it's about $200 USD.
Right.
So, okay. So,
and one of the big things, I guess, to note
Ahead,
is
keep left.
we're gonna keep left. But you don't have to have a big vehicle over here. Like,
we'll get into the small road thing here in a minute, but there's a lot of small, tight roads, so a smaller car might be beneficial to you.
right, which we actually didn't even go with the economy size. We went with what they
After
call
400 yards ahead, keep left.
Micro or something.
mini size, which is kind of like an equivalent. Like, we're driving a Hyundai i10,
Right.
which is, I guess,
Ahead, keep left.
essentially is
About the size of a Fiat 500
Yeah.
or so. Yeah.
That's
It's
where I
a
was
pretty
going.
small car. Yeah.
and another thing to note is if you're going to be renting a car over here, you're going to have a hard time finding an automatic vehicle.
You can find them, but they cost
They're very expensive.
almost twice as much. So, and they usually don't have those in the minis. So you're going to spend more to get an automatic. So if you can drive a stick, just rent a manual transmission. The shift pattern's exactly the same as you're doing it with your left hand. So it's the same H pattern of every stick shift ever out there. So, okay. Next.
So the next on the list is GPS options.
Right. So getting where you want to get, right?
Because a lot of times if you're staying in a major city, we wouldn't suggest renting a car. Just
wouldn't.
take the public transportation.
Right. Don't rent a car.
But if you're planning on going from town to town or village to village, a car is a good option because then you're not spending most of your vacation on a bus trying to get somewhere.
Right. But if we were going like from London to York or London to Bath or something like that, we would just take the train. Honestly,
Right.
we wouldn't rent the car to do it. So.
But with the GPS, I mean, nowadays you can still use the paper maps if you choose, but with the technology we have today, I mean, your phones are built in with it. They have the GPSs that come in the cars. You can rent them when you rent the car.
All right. So let's talk money-wise, or pros and cons to each one.
Okay.
So first, we'll explain what we've done. We have a TomTom GPS. It's one of those that you plug into the cigarette lighter, you stick it on the window. We've downloaded European maps to it so we can use it anywhere in Europe. And what we did is we went in halvesies with my brother-in-law and sister, which we still owe him money for that. Thanks, Barry. To just buy one that we only use for vacations.
And there's different downloads.
Right,
like there's the UK, or you can, we plan on going to Germany next year. We would do,
It's got all the maps for that.
Yes.
Basically, you can't use your regular US one without downloading UK or European maps on it. Your regular Magellan or TomTom from home isn't going to work. You have to make sure that you have the downloaded maps for that.
Another option.
The cost for that, let me go over that
Sorry.
real quick. The cost for that, if you rent a GPS from your car rental company, it usually costs you about $10 a day. So do the math. I think this GPS was about $150 that we own. So about 15 days of rental paid for that. This is the second time we've used it. We've used it for 5 days in Scotland, I think, and 5 days this time around. So that's $100 saved right there. And then Barry and Nikki used it when they were in Ireland. They were there for like 8 days with
Right.
the car. So it's already paid for itself by saving us the rental fee for a GPS. The other option would be to use your phone for Google Maps on your phone. Now that, you just have to look at your cell phone provider and get a mobile data plan for, wherever you're going. Sometimes they offer a great deal for that. Mine, the plan that I have, it would be like a pay by the day plan, and it just wouldn't be cost effective. So we just decided to go this route.
And it works wonderfully, even like on back roads.
Right. Another kind of cool thing about our GPS is we've done it's got like points of interest near me. You can just pop in points of interest near me and find a castle or whatever you want to find near you. So
That you may not have on your route, which is what we call an adventure.
an adventure, a side adventure. You just have to make sure that you have addresses and things and how to work your GPS probably before you get over here and take a look at it. So that's pretty much it on the getting where you need to go option. That's how we get around using a GPS.
Okay.
And what do we got?
Now we have driving on the left.
A left. Everybody asks me every time I come back and say that yes, I rented a car in England or Scotland or in, the UK.
Don't they drive on the wrong side of the road?
How is it driving on the left? Is it hard to remember to drive? No, it's not hard to remember to drive on the left. For starters,
You've got people coming
right,
the
the
opposite
steering
way.
wheel's on the wrong side of the car, so you're just kind of used to driving on the side, the traffic coming towards you while you're sitting in the driver's spot. You're closest to oncoming traffic. So you just do that. The hardest part for me is when you're on like a small one-ish lane road and you're coming up to a right turn. Because for us US drivers, when you go to make a right turn, you're on the right side of the road. You're just going to turn right. Well, you got to make sure.
400 yards, cross the rotary. Third exit.
Okay. You got to make sure to keep yourself on the left side of the road and to turn right. Left-hand turns are simple, but right-hand turns are a little more tricky. See, that's when you have to pay attention, or I have to pay attention the most. All right, hitting a roundabout here. Okay, what's next on the list?
The
Cross
roundabout.
the rotary.
Okay.
Third exit.
All right, so roundabouts. First thing is yield to the traffic that's already in the roundabout, right?
Right.
And if you need to, just go around the roundabout to get your exit. Our roundabout or rotary, our GPS is very, very good at telling us kind of
Which exit?
which exit. So you just count. You hop in the roundabout or rotary. 1, 2. All right, this is mine coming up, and then just kind of veer off on that. Just remember, step 1, to yield to the traffic that's already in the roundabout.
And once you're in there, if you have trouble, just think,
Go
look,
right.
kids, Big Ben,
Big Ben,
Parliament.
Yep. I can't get left. I usually, if I'm like the first or second exit out of the roundabout, I'll just stay in kind of the left part of the lane and then just shoot off. But if I'm third or fourth, then I'll get over towards the right a little bit. Like right now, I think I might be in the wrong lane. It might be a little difficult to get out.
Third exit.
Okay,
So,
cool.
okay. So next we have motorways. There are different types of motorways.
There are. All right, so your main, what they call motorways here, or M's, are a lot like the interstates that we're used to. Yeah, motorways are basically like interstates, and you just got to remember when it comes to that the left lane is the slow lane, not the right lane. Okay.
So along with that, after the M roads, you've got the A roads.
Right.
Which to most of us in the States is going to be an equivalent to like a country road.
Right, like a 2-lane country road.
Yes. With concrete and bush hedges on either
Right,
side
right.
most of the time.
So when you're driving on these little 1-lane roads, and they're really kind of narrow at times, most of the times 2 cars can't pass. So what you've got are those little side offs. It's about a half a car wide, and you just kind of get out of the way and let somebody pass if you got it on your side. Now, if you're coming up to a car and it's over on their side, what you'll want to do is kind of stop there and let them get over so you can get by. So it's just kind of a let each other go type of thing, right?
And everybody is very courteous that we
Right.
come across. You know,
Right.
they always do the hand wave and
Right.
gas and fuel pumps.
Okay. So gas is sold in liters and it's expensive. So that gets back to the get a small car. We've so far spent about 22 pounds in gas. We're probably going to spend about another 20 pounds in gas today. So that's about 40 pounds. So that's about 60 bucks.
You do have the option, which we thought we were actually doing when we rented this car, where you have the option of paying for the fuel
Right.
with the price of the rental.
Right. So like a rental anywhere in the world that I've ever used is you can either prepay to fill up when you get back,
Right.
or you can just bring it back full.
Right.
I thought I told him that we'd prepay to fill up, but he didn't put it on, so we're going to have to fill up when we get back, which is kind of good because honestly, we're not going to be at an empty tank, so I would have paid for a full tank of gas and they would only actually have to put in a half a tank, so we're good there. All right. But there are a lot of diesel-powered cars in the UK and Europe. And I'm not talking like big diesel-powered trucks like you're used to. I'm talking like VW Golfs. And,
Right.
and you know, so they will tell you if you have a petrol or diesel-powered car. So just make sure when you go to the pump that you put the right type of fuel in. And don't just go by the color of the pump handle. I think in the States, diesel is green.
Yes.
And I think it is here too. Or actually, I think petrol is, which is unleaded gasoline.
Most of the time it won't say unleaded
It'll
here.
say petrol.
It'll say petrol.
Yeah. So look for petrol. Make sure you're putting the right type of fuel in your car. That's really kind of
You'll find out the hard way if you don't.
right. Yeah. Which hasn't happened to us. Not
No, not going.
Okay. Tell them about speed limits.
Speed limits. So they will have the signs posted on, you know, all the main roads with the speed limit. Average is about 50 on the bigger roads. And not only do they have the signs posted, they'll have a marking on the street.
Right. Tell them what it looks like.
It's round.
It's a circle with a number in it.
Right.
That's your speed limit sign. Okay, that's different than the United
Yeah, I
States.
guess we have like the
Big square. It says
yeah.
speed limit. These don't say speed limit. They just have a circle, a red circle, with a number 50 inside. But they've also, when the speed limits change, they've also got it on the road. So it's a circle with a number. It says, 50 or 30 or whatever the heck.
And a lot of times if you have the GPS, like we were talking about before, they have where it pops up an alert because they have a lot of speed cameras that will track you
Right.
if you're speeding.
And that's how you'll get your ticket. They don't do a whole lot of,
Pulling people over.
yeah, there's not a whole lot of patrol cars.
Because you do have a license plate on the front and the back of the vehicle.
They will take a picture and they will send it to your rental car place, and your rental car place will send you a bill or bill your credit card. So just pay attention to your speed, and there's always a sign for a speed camera. Our GPS actually happens to alert us
After
to
400
upcoming.
yards, cross the rotary, second exit.
It alerts us to upcoming speed cameras, so that's kind of nice. But just maintain your speed, watch your speed. Don't worry about people passing you. Especially if you're on a small road or something and you're not comfortable. Go at the speed in which you're comfortable. Be safe. People might get a little honked off, but they'll just go around you eventually. It's no big deal. Remember, on the motorways, in the 4 lanes or split divided highways or whatever, the left lane's the slow lane. If you stay there, you'll notice because all the big trucks or the lorries are usually in the left lane. People go around you. Let them pass.
One option you can do, they have where you can put something in your vehicle that makes them aware
Cross
that
the
you're not
rotary,
used to
second
driving.
exit.
Not really like a learner's type thing, but it's just a, hey, I'm not from around
Right.
here.
It is a learner's thing. It's exactly what it is. It's an L.
Yeah, it's an L.
That's what like student drivers around here have on their car.
And we've
They'll have an-
chosen not to do that
Right.
because we want to try to blend in as best possible.
That, and I couldn't figure out how to get one. Honestly, if you see L's, that means they're learners or they're not used to driving. They're learning the roads of and how to drive in England. So that's an option too if you want to get on the internet and figure out how to get that L decal for your car.
Right.
That's cool. People will look at you very fondly and give you plenty
Of space.
leeway. All right. So the biggest piece of advice I'd have to say is, there goes a Bambulance, is just give it a shot. You know, it's not as bad as you think. I don't really like driving in and around the bigger towns and cities. Like we're trying to get around through Oxford right now, and it's kind of a pain in the nuts. But I'm going that way.
Yep.
Okay. My little navigator keeps looking at the GPS for me. GPS kind of gets us where we need to go, and pay attention to your cars around you and all those type of things, and you should be all right.
And like you said, just give it a chance because when you rent a car, you're opening up your vacation to so much more.
You are.
I mean, when we went to Scotland, that was one of the few times that we had rented a car, and to be able to pull off on the side of the road at any time and not have to worry about anybody else and the scenery pictures that we've got,
Right. Right. Plus, you're not stuck to, say we wanted to go to Stonehenge or Highclere Castle or somewhere that's not within like good public transit areas.
or it's going to cost you an arm and a leg to get there.
It'll cost you an arm and a leg.
Right.
Because you'll end up having to take an organized tour there, and then you're stuck on their schedule and you're paying their prices and stuff like that. Whereas you have freedom with a car in places like Britain that has a lot of small towns that you want to visit, or things kind of off. the
After
beaten path.
800 yards ahead, keep right.
Once again, if I were going from like London to York or London to Paris or Paris to Reims or wherever, don't bother with a car. Just use public transit. Take a train. There's good train systems. But since we're going to little small towns and villages around, a car is kind of the way to go for us.
Yes.
All right. So thanks for watching. I
Ahead, keep right.
hope you learned something. If you have any more questions or comments or anything like that, go ahead and pop them in the comments block. If you're a friend or family of mine, you know how to get a hold of me. Thanks a lot. Hope you enjoyed it. Right?
Yeah.
And our next stop is London.
Have fun traveling.